Alright, hey guys. So I'm going to be talking about North Node in the first house and what it means to have it there, the experience of having it there, the road bumps, the pitfalls, all that stuff, and especially just to also just make you feel less alone and maybe kind of steer you in the right path if you feel like what you're doing right now is wrong, or if you feel like even you're wrong. Because especially with this, you're always going to feel like some part of you is just wrong. Kind of what pushed me to make this video is the feeling of isolation, because I've been feeling very isolated lately. And it comes and it goes. Like, I feel isolated a lot, and sometimes it's worse than others, but sometimes it hits you really hard. And I don't know, I just feel like things like this, like understanding the North Node in the first house, can be very comforting. The first thing I do want to say though, is like, just because you have North Node in the first house does not mean you're meant to live your life in a box. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to be alone forever. And I've also read like online that if you have this placement, you won't get married, or you shouldn't get married, or like it'll be bad luck, and that's not true. And I feel like that's kind of why like a lot of people hate astrology, and like they think it's stupid because of things like that. You don't let astrology decide your life, you decide your life. Astrology is working through you, it's not working over you, it's not controlling you. Like, the energies of the signs and like the aspects and the planets, they are living through you. Like, so you're consciously acting out and deciding how you want to act out these energies, right? So there is going to be a lot of times though throughout your life when you are isolated with this placement, because you're being molded, you're being prepared, and part of that is being able to stand on your own 2 feet with this placement, like being able to rely on yourself and yourself alone. And that's why you'll go through all these situations that can like literally tear you down, like tear the average person to pieces, but you're meant to rebuild yourself like from nothing with this placement, especially if you have Pluto squaring your North Node. That's where you really get into the power dynamics and like really finding out how powerful you are. And I can make a video about Pluto square North Node too, because I know a lot of people have that that are around my age. So it's just like, I have literally just I've picked myself up from nothing basically so many times in my life. No one was there to hold my hand. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, wow, like no one actually sees me like I see myself. No one has ever poured into me the way I've poured into myself and how I've nurtured myself. I can honestly say that no one else, including family, my parents, like has done that for me. And that kind of alleviates me from a lot of the guilt I feel from putting myself first and choosing myself first in my life, you know what I mean? And a lot of times, like with the North Node in the first house, you will have to put yourself first before even close friends and family, especially if you have like 4th house placements, Pluto in the 4th house, Lilith placements, like Lilith aspecting your North Node, even Uranus, all those things can kind of like add into the fact that you have to put yourself first in situations where most people would think that it's wrong to do so. But in your case, it's not. And I'm not saying to put yourself first in every single situation and be like a selfish kind of like asshole. That's not what I'm saying. But you will have to put yourself first in terms of how you live your own life, and like where you want to live, and like how you spend your time and things like that. That is completely up to you. And so I have never felt less guilty for doing that than right now, like this year. And looking at my notes real quick to see. Yeah, so one thing I wanted to point out is like one thing, like a major, because okay, the South Node, I wasn't realizing like how unconscious the South Node is. It's so deep. It's like you act out in your South Node without even realizing it. And like you literally, that's why you have to be so intentional with stepping into your north node, because if not, you'll literally just follow the tide and just kind of be stuck in your south node, and like you'll be wondering why your life isn't going good. It's because you're not in your north node. And I realized I was doing this, like there's this thing we do as humans where we kind of psychologically mirror each other. And also when you think of someone a certain way, they kind of tend to show up in that way a lot of times, especially if they know that you, like if you know someone thinks that you're super smart and put together, things like that, you're gonna subconsciously do those behaviors around that person to kind of compensate for that. Like you will literally change yourself subconsciously. And so if someone thinks like you're nothing, or you're beneath them, or you're kind of like stupid, then you also subconsciously take on those traits. And that's what I was doing for such a long time. I still do it. I still do it, and I have to catch myself every single time, because it's like with this placement, you tell other people who you are. They don't tell you who you are. You tell them. You show up, and like just by your presence and your energy, people are like, oh, okay, that's who she is. And you have to become so psychologically strong with this placement, which is why you go through some of the most fucked up shit, is because like life is teaching you that everything is in you, and the answer is you, and who you're looking for to save you is you, and everything, your greatest source of love comes from you. And like the different signs, and the first house north node is going to tell you like the different kind of ways the lesson is expressing itself. Like with Virgo north node, in the first house, it's like you're setting boundaries for yourself. Like you're very strict with how you spend your time, and like what feeds you and nurtures you, and you kind of like cut off all the dead weight with this placement. Or say if you have Scorpio north node in the first house, you're going to be like really diving into yourself, like taking a deep look inside, and like kind of changing those subconscious patterns that tend to sabotage you, and probably going to spend like a lot more time in solitude than maybe say someone who had a Sag first house, or like an Aries or Leo first house. Your Mars is going to show you how to take action, like how to make strides towards your north node with it here, because like the first house is ruled by Mars. So looking at your Mars aspects is going to tell you how it's actually playing out in real life. Also, the house that your Mars is in is going to tell you the area of life that you need to lean into the most to get the most out of your north node. Say you have like your Mars in the 9th house, like I do. Like knowing what you believe in and cultivating your beliefs, and traveling and expanding your mind, and like, you know, the things that you think are possible is really going to help you blossom into your north node. So look at the house that your Mars is in, and if you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. And yeah, also the aspects made to your Mars. I also have my moon trine Mars, which is one of my favorite placements personally for me, because I can literally feel it. I can feel how my emotions urge me to take action. Like I can do a lot when I'm feeling the emotion. Anything that brings out emotion fuels me, and I love that about me. And like the only emotion that I still struggle with is feeling powerless, and I guess like stuck. Those are the two emotions that are really hard for me to deal with. But other than that, like all my emotions, I'm starting to learn how to use them to fuel me forward. And so you really have to look at those aspects to see how you can push yourself forward with this placement. Let me see what else I have for my notes. I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, I actually pretty much said everything that I had in my notes. So I guess I can end the video here. I really hope the people that have this placement will comment their experiences, because I really want to hear, because I've always felt like, I don't know, and this feeling of being alone is amplified if you have like 10th house placements like I do. Like I literally have 3 10th house placements, and so that feeling of being alone is going to be amplified even more. And I didn't even know that 10th house was also representing isolation, but when I read that, it made so much sense, because the 10th house is like the highest point, and you're basically being set apart for something greater. And so you also have to spend a lot of time in isolation. So it's like with me having that first house north node and then all those 10th house placements and then my Pluto in the 4th house, it's really been like I have nowhere to run to, like I have nowhere to turn, and everything has been inward, and I've experienced so many deaths, like inward deaths and like transformations, and that no one will ever know about or see except for me. But it's all like stored within me. It's in my energy field. Like you can feel it, even though you don't know exactly what it is. Like it's something you can feel. Like people with North Node in the first house can have a very strong presence, just based off of feeling that you feel when you're around them. Same thing with 10th house placements. So this is why it's so important to look at the whole chart, because it really just tells a story, and it paints a picture of your life and your experiences, and it's really beautiful, and like it can just help you put the pieces together, because your life will naturally connect the dots for you if you just keep living. That's what I've had to learn also. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video there. If you have this placement, please comment what you got from this, like what stood out to you, what resonated with you, and everything, because it's such a lonely placement, but it's really beautiful though, because you are coming into yourself and you're creating yourself, and like now it's your turn to literally design your life. I feel like if you have this placement, everything in your life should be by your design. And also that's like kind of the key. I really strongly feel like that's the key to get people to come into your life, is when you're so strong in yourself and like you have designed everything, and everything about yourself is like basically curated. That's when people start becoming drawn to you, because like it's basically like you're the head person. Everything is responding to your vibration. So once you show the universe, the universe sees, oh, like she's in her power, like she's solid, then everything just kind of starts coming to you like a magnet. So get very clear about what you want out of life, and the people you want in your life, and like who you are and what you stand for, what your values are. I'm actually about to do that right after this video, just as a refresher, because I really need to think about a lot of things in my life and like what I want out of life. That's what I'm about to do after this video. So I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.